It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, and welcome to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. It's America's radio show, and it's locally created, nationally celebrated. Welcome to this week's show. We have our usual gathering of rapscallions, ne'er-do-wells, and the whole team in the studio here. I also would like to make a special congratulations this week to Alex and Amber, who are very faithful listeners from the West Side, who have a third family member this morning, delivered yesterday. Walker David Pearson. I was going for Texas as the middle name, but they went with David, which I think is just a big loss to the whole Walker Texas Ranger fans. So congratulations to you guys, and a new family member, a new listener. Now we have 3 listeners to Test Miles.
Do they have to get rid of their Miata? They have to change they have to change your vehicle when you get kids. I know this, and you'd be a one to know that, Brad. They actually have a little. Alex has a very small Jaguar kit car that he's put together, but it's not their daily driver. But they've been asking me to help them buy a new vehicle for a while. So this morning's team, of course, includes Eugenia the intern, Sean Walker, and old man Brad in the studio. Oli got sucked into Mother's Day, so he isn't here today. Packed show for you this morning. Lots of stuff coming up on the show, but this is the part of the show when we like to talk about the vehicles that we have been driving for the last week. So I'm going to start off with something that really has impressed me immensely. I picked it up yesterday, and I put on Facebook. It literally blew my socks off. This is the new Mercedes-Benz GLA AMG 45. Unbelievable piece of machinery. The price of the vehicle is astounding. We'll save that till the end. But I got into this vehicle, and I had been in the GLA on the launch and the AMG version, actually, and was relatively impressed with the vehicle. But when I got into this version, it was kitted out with basically all the options that you can put, including a giant spoiler on the back of the vehicle. It looks like, what did you call it, Brad? I thought it when I walked up, I thought it was like this souped up, tricked out IPD Volvo wagon of some sort.
And interestingly enough, it is called a wagon. I looked at the sheet, and it does say it's a wagon. Doesn't look anything like a Mercedes, does it?
Not even close.
Yeah, it looks very much like a rally car. It looks like a tuner car on steroids, is the way I would put it. Absolutely unbelievable vehicle. So it's a four-door compact performance crossover. Sports handling and performance are the good parts of it. Interior materials really nicely put together. The racing seats actually snug, a little bit too snug for me, but I think for the average racing car driver, someone like Kyle Keenan, that sort of size of person, this would be absolutely great. In fact, I kind of want him to drive this so he could see what the vehicle's like. Overall, it's a very firm ride, abundance of really good handling. It's a little bit, the turbo lag in it is bigger than I expected it to be, and a small cargo capacity, but who cares? I mean, it's a fun drive, right? 2-liter AMG engine, hand-built, of course. It's a turbo. 355 is the horsepower. 355 horsepower. This is almost the smallest Mercedes that they build with that much horsepower. 7-speed auto, all-wheel drive. In the city 23, highway 29, 25 combined miles a gallon. So what's his competition? The BMW X1, I guess it would be the M version, the NX from Lexus, and the Audi Q3, I think, would probably be the competition for this. The price, are you ready for this? $66,950. But I don't feel bad about that. I really don't. After driving this vehicle, I kind of feel like it's fun. The price of the vehicle didn't shock me at all because it's so much fun.
You would be unique driving this car around.
I'd be the only one. I hope I wouldn't, because Mercedes don't. Their business plan, I think, involves
it calls for a few more sales than just to you.
Yeah, but again, absolutely unbelievable drive in this vehicle. It really stunned me. All right, Sean, what have you been driving this week?
I had our pick for car of the year, the Hyundai Genesis, and this car just is so class leading in every category. Interior room, engine. It's just unbelievable how nice and luxurious this car feels. It has, once again, we had the V6 model, which is a 3.8, 311 horsepower, but also has more horsepower than the BMW 5 Series, Lexus, GS, Mercedes E-Class, and Audi A6. So the tech on this car is unbelievable. You got an 8-inch touchscreen navigation system. The heads-up display shows everything, where most cars, their heads-up display just shows the speed. This shows your navigation, speed, the speed limit that you should be going, your radio presets. It also has an electronic doormat when you walk up that just shines Genesis on the floor. The handling on this car is just unbelievable. Thumbs up, best car I've ever owned. And the only bad I can find for this car is I really don't have one. And it's a car that I want to go out and actually buy.
And you've been in love with this car for a while. You drove one back on the East Coast in the snow, right?
In the snow back east when there was a blizzard. I went for a Steelers game, and it handled the snow like there was no tomorrow. And I love this car. It is one of the sedans that I truly love. And like I said, I'd actually own the V6 over a V8 model, although I still haven't driven the V8, and I think that's why they won't give me one, because I give so high props on the V6. And as soon as I get in that 420 horsepower V8, I won't be saying the same thing.
Another nice feature that Hyundai did, because they do suffer from their brand imaging just from the high end, they have different badging on this car than just their traditional.
Right, so there's no Hyundai
design.
badge, right?
There is one on the tailgate.
On the tailgate,
trunk,
but the front has a little different badging.
It's kind of like, I was showing it off to a friend, and they thought it was kind of like a Chrysler Bentley, because it's kind of an eagle crest, and it looks similar to
Isn't
the Chrysler.
Wings?
Yeah.
Well, that's the Equus that has the wings.
No, it's the same thing. They both have the same emblem, I believe. Because the Equus was supposed to become off the Genesis brand, and it was supposed to be a higher-end luxury brand.
Yeah, I know Hyundai had talked at one time about splitting those two off and making separate dealer showrooms, but that doesn't actually
How'd that work for Mazda in their Millennia?
Well, although I did read the J.D. Power and Associates awards last week for the most reliable car, and Mazda was the brand at number 2, Lexus at number 1. So
you also get the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty with this, 5-star crash rating. It's just, I can't say anything bad about this car.
And doesn't the base rate come in under $40,000 too?
Yeah, and mine was like fully optioned except for the V8 engine, and it was $53,000. And to me, that's just a steal.
Excellent. All right, Sean. I just want to remind everybody, by the way, this morning, our Test Miles account, we're periscoping the show, so you can actually see into the studio live here, so you can listen on the radio and see the show at the same time, which will be exciting.
The illusion is broken. Sorry.
Yes, it is. Brad, what have you been driving?
Well, payday was a week away, so I needed an inexpensive car to drive. So I got the 2015 Kia Soul EV. So this is the class-leading electric vehicle in an increasingly crowded kind of entry-level EV market that now includes the Soul and then the number one selling Nissan Leaf, the Fiat that we all love, the e-Golf, which was my favorite vehicle. It's a little bit bigger, but 93 miles is a pretty good range for this vehicle, but we still suffer from range anxiety. I had an option to run to the beach, but I had no idea exactly where my charging stations were at the coast and couldn't just at the drop of a hat run off to the beach. So you do oftentimes need that secondary vehicle that's a gas-powered vehicle. But this Soul is really a lot like the existing Kia Soul, although this one's built from the ground up, so you have a little bit more storage room in the back. And it's, I've always loved the Kia Soul. I think it's hugely roomy for a big guy my size. I could fit in that comfortably and drive it daily. Very, very comfortable.
One of the things I noticed about driving this car when I was on the launch of the vehicle is that it's probably my favorite electric car apart from the driving dynamics.
Correct.
I think the range, the room, everything's there. It's just slug.
And do you really drive an electric vehicle for the performance? I mean, it's not as sexy and cool as the Fiat.
Here's one of the deals is electric cars, it's all about the performance because you have one gear.
You're not going to get that shifting. And
right. Isn't that why Tesla is so big, is because of the performance with it?
I think Tesla's big for style and a range of 300 miles or whatever it is now.
I don't think people are buying Teslas just because of the performance.
So the price on this vehicle ranges from about $33,700 up to $37,000 range, but that doesn't factor in the $7,500 federal rebate, which is a question that I wanted to pose. As we're sitting here in Lars Larson's studio, who has railed against that 7,500. Is that ever going to come off on electric vehicles?
Yeah, so it started to drop off on a lot of vehicles. Vehicles don't last forever with that. And electric vehicles are inside that caption. But
right.
I know that some friends in California had to change their vehicles up because their vehicles fell out of all of the tax rebates. So
initially that was the Prius and some of the hybrid vehicles were getting that. But all the electric vehicles are still covered by that.
But as time goes forward and we move on in time, does that mean that they'll be dropping off electric vehicles and doing hydrogen only? I don't think it's forever. I think it's an encouragement. It's not a gift forever.
And, then the question is, will they be as plentiful at that point?
Well,
so is somebody going to buy a $37,000 vehicle? They'll get into this vehicle now for under $30,000. And there's a lot of lease deals out there where, like the Fiat's $199. And that's palatable for a lot of folks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's our car reviews for this week. Now, coming up on the show, what do we have for you? We're going to be talking to John Vincent from the Portland Tribune. John has been spending some time with Freightliner and has some very interesting news. If you didn't know, we have a local company that produces vehicles right here in Portland, Oregon. If motorcycle riding is on your list of things to do in your lifetime, we're going to tell you all about that. Jeff Earls is going to be here from Team Oregon to explain about getting your motorcycle endorsement. And we're going to find out all about the new location for cars and coffee. That's more to come with Test Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. It's FM News 101 KXL, automotive radio show live from our studios in downtown Portland. For all the latest automotive news, follow us on Twitter at Test Miles. Live periscoping this morning.
All right, here's a fun fact with which you can impress your friends. The name Mazda apparently comes from Ahura Mazda, not the Star Trek Uhura, but Ahura Mazda, the god of Zoroastrianism, which means illuminated wisdom, which it took for me just to say that.
Yeah, you were illuminated on saying
good job on it, though.
Applause, yes, round of applause for you. All right, well, many people don't know that Portland is home to one of the most famous vehicle manufacturers in the United States, Freightliner. Now, Freightliner make everything from cargo vans right up to heavy-duty Class 8 diesel trucks. And if you read the Portland Tribune newspaper recently, you are very familiar with this gentleman, our next guest, John Vincent. John writes automotive stories for the newspaper, and he recently wrote about Freightliner. Now, one of the stories that caught my eye was Freightliner have been working on a super fuel-efficient truck. Normally, an 18-wheeler gets about 6 to 7 miles a gallon, but Freightliner are getting better gas mileage than that with their new vehicle. So what are they getting, John?
They are getting 12.2 mpg.
Which is over double 6 miles a gallon. Right?
The goal for their project was 50%. They got 115% improvement.
All right, so how do they do it? Did they tell you, or was it a big trade secret?
They did it with lots of technologies. A huge thing is aerodynamics, skirting the wheels, fixing the gap between the truck and the trailer. They put a hybrid drive system in, which will probably not make it to the road. It's an aluminum chassis, lots of carbon fiber, and a few other fairly exotic technologies that won't make it to the market.
So let me ask you this question. These trucks end up costing about $250,000, so clearly not a fuel-saving event, or financially fuel-saving event that way.
Well, this one is a technology demonstrator of things that will be making it to the market sometime in the future. And in fact, the program has gone on so long that many of the things have already made it to the market.
And so some of those things, I've seen on trucks in the future, is that they have things like the skirting at the back of the truck and those type of things.
Yeah, the skirts and the tails.
And then those sort of things are coming to the market in new forms. So are they air tunnel testing these things?
The wind tunnel. There is actually a full-size truck wind tunnel on Swan Island here in Portland.
For trucks.
For trucks.
I kind of think other great ideas we could use for that too. And then they test those. Now, when is there going to be an on-road, a true final version of the truck?
It's a technology demonstrator, so the technologies from the truck will slowly roll out into the market, those that prove out a business case.
And so you won't see necessarily this huge new truck that just appears, but you'll see some of the things like the skirting and the aluminum chassis appear in future models.
Yes, and a lot of the aerodynamic improvements have already made it onto their Cascadia Evolution product.
So now, how many different trucks do they build here?
The trucks they build in Portland are a brand called Western Star, and they're the most customized trucks that the company builds, and also the highest margin trucks that the company builds.
So usually for owner-operators who are buying these?
A lot of both, actually.
All right. Now, you were recently in Las Vegas.
I was.
And you went down with Freightliner to test some of their new vehicles. And they had some interesting announcements, and you had some interesting learning stuff going on, didn't you?
They had a huge announcement. The state of Nevada allows autonomous vehicles, and Daimler Trucks North America has come up with a truck called the Freightliner Inspiration, which is a self-driving tractor-trailer truck.
All right, there's like 1,000 million questions I could ask at this point. And so a self-driving truck, reality, fantasy?
Very much reality. It uses technologies that are in trucks today, but just merges them together and adds more intelligence to them to take the driver out of the picture.
So have they done long-term tests with these? Have they done long-haul tests with these vehicles?
They are starting to do long-haul tests in the state of Nevada now that they have a license to do so.
So the vehicle, nobody in the vehicle or somebody in the vehicle?
There will always be somebody in the vehicle because there are conditions where the truck cannot operate autonomously.
All right, so it's mostly freeway driving, I presume, that they're...
Freeway and highway driving.
All right, so you stick the car at one city and then you go relax in the back and you...
No, you stay in the driver's seat.
Okay.
The driver will always be in the picture according to Daimler. But you hands off the wheel, feet off the pedal, and it takes itself down the road and avoids safety issues along the way.
So is the driver just going to kick back, read a couple articles, play on their phone?
Exactly.
I'm wondering if what happens, there must be some mechanism in there because Mercedes have been a leader in this mechanism about whether or not you can fall asleep doing this, or whether it will tell you if the driver fell asleep.
That technology is not in the Inspiration test truck yet. It will probably be a part of future products.
I'm kind of interested because I like to fall asleep on long journeys if I'm not driving. So it'll be interesting to see. All right, John, so where can we read your stuff? Where can we get hold of more John Vincent articles?
In the Portland Tribune and the Business Tribune.
Excellent. John Vincent, automotive writer extraordinaire. Thanks for our insight into these new vehicles, these new trucks, and congratulations, Freightliner, on such a big success with both vehicles. When we come back, we'll be finding out about motorcycle riding in Oregon. You want to get your endorsement? We're going to tell you how when Test Miles returns. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com. Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Sunday morning, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Live from our studio in downtown Portland, a Sunday morning, America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of America's Car Nation. And a fun fact for you coming up. Who's doing the fun fact, Zhenya?
In 1936, Mercedes-Benz made the first diesel engine production passenger car, the 260D.
And Brad probably owned one of those, too, as well, off the line. Oh, Brad had to go to Mother's Day things, by the way, where he vacated the studio. All right. I recently had a big birthday, and in true midlife crisis style, I decided to come up with a bucket list of things I wanted to do. One of the things that I wanted to get back into is riding a motorcycle. First, I rode a motorcycle when I was about 16. Within days of getting the bike, I got knocked off by a car and broke my leg. So I've never been able to get back on a bike since, but I've always been slightly afraid of doing that. In fact, I think I have somewhat of a disability to riding a motorcycle. I have a 24.5-inch seam, which some may consider only fit for a clown bike from a circus. Our team at Test Miles thought that maybe other people would be interested in learning how to ride a motorcycle safely and properly, and learning all the proper techniques. So we wanted to get somebody in the studio to find out about getting a motorcycle endorsement. And the organization that do that is Team Oregon. They've served riders since 1984 with world-class rider training and education, and they're open to the public. They include classroom instruction as well as on-cycle training. Joining us in studio, Jeff Earls from Team Oregon. Jeff, am I too short to ride a bike?
Absolutely not. And thanks for asking me to come on the show today, Nick.
So how short is too short then?
You need to be able to comfortably get your feet on the pegs, and when you get to a stop, be able to put a foot down, because balance and stability are critical for us, and you need that third leg.
Now, does the whole foot have to be flat on the floor, or are you okay with just toes?
It's what you're comfortable with. I do know some very short inseam people that ride tall bikes that have to sit one leg off the side to get comfortable on the pavement.
It's pretty sad when you get when just a regular bicycle and the saddle just has to be in the lowest position possible. I never get to extend the saddle ever. All right, so that's the first thing. So it is possible for me to find a motorcycle that I ride. Now, what do I need to do to become a legal, safe rider in Oregon?
To become a legal, safe rider in Oregon, you need to actually pass one of the Team Oregon basic or intermediate rider courses, then take that completion card to the DMV, complete the paperwork there, and get your endorsement, and that'll make you a legal rider. To become a safe rider in Oregon, you need to continue to practice the skills that we work on in the basic and the intermediate class to make those permanent.
So tell me about the class. Take me through it. What's going to happen? What would happen if I took the class?
So if you signed up for one of our basic classes here in the Portland area, we would start on a Friday night. We'd do a couple hours of classroom to introduce you to the basics of, okay, where's the clutch? Where's the throttle? How do these things operate? What is appropriate gear, and why do we wear it? Basically getting you set up for our first day on the range on Saturday. Then on Saturday and Sunday, you'll have a couple of range sessions and a couple of classroom sessions where we'll work on the basic skills to start with. We'll get you moving in a straight line, feeling how that clutch engages, how the transmission works, how the brakes work. Then we'll move to the classroom that afternoon and work on some advanced skills. Street survival strategies, where you keep your head and eyes up, how to scan the road, and how to get the bike stopped quickly. We'll practice some of that again.
Without going over the handlebars, presumably.
Yeah, actually, you're more likely to skid the front than to go over the handlebars, because the motorcycle outweighs us by a fair deal.
Okay.
And to work out how to get that bike stopped quickly, and we'll practice that again on Sunday, because some of these skills, how to stop the bike quickly, how to swerve to avoid an obstacle, cornering, are all the skills that have been shown to be absent in accident-involved riders.
Okay.
And then we'll do a little bit more in the classroom. We'll do knowledge and skill tests, and if you complete those successfully, we'll give you a card you take to the DMV.
All right. And how hard is this test to pass? I mean, what's the pass rate? Do you guys stay there all night until somebody gets it?
Are you referring to the skill test?
Yeah, well, all of them. I mean, what's the likelihood of someone passing this test? What's the sort of pass-fail rate?
I don't have it varies from class to class. It can go from under 50% to 100%. Right. It really depends on the student's skill level and how they apply themselves and respond to our coaching. We're there to help you get through this class, but we do ask that you respond to our coaching, because some of the things that we may ask you to do are entirely counterintuitive. But go ahead and try it, and because we're not going to ask you to do anything that's going to hurt our motorcycles. So,
right.
So 80, 90% typical pass rate, but I guess it varies from class to class. But we do have it's when we start the test, we become evaluators rather than coaches, and it is a very defined objective test. We go through a specific.
If someone's interested in finding out more, tell us where they would go to get more information.
Get more information at teamoregon.org. That's TEAM-Oregon.org.
All right. So let's say now your courses are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is that the only time? Because clearly I'm on the radio, so I'm not available on Sundays. Is there other times that you can take the courses?
There are other times you can take the courses. As we get in through the summer months and demand goes up, especially here in the Portland area, we offer midweek courses where you'll start on a Tuesday night and go through Wednesday and Thursday. So we have a couple sites that we can do that, such as PCC Sylvania. We can get the lot.
All right. Who's taking these courses?
Who's taking anybody that wants to get their endorsement? A new endorsement in Oregon is required to pass an either basic or intermediate class.
So, but is it? Are we talking about sort of youngsters, people sort of in their late teens, early 20s? Or are we talking about people who are middle-aged riders, people who are in midlife crisis like me? What sort of people are taking these tests?
It's very interesting. We end up with what's considered a bimodal distribution. We get the younger riders that are coming in. Maybe they've been riding dirt bikes. They want to get their motorcycle endorsement. They're required to do that. So we have the 25 and under cohort. But then we have a large number of people coming in the 40, 45, 50-year-old range. The people that, as you expect, you did it early. You're coming back into it now. Maybe people that had ridden in their college years, then they had a family that put the motorcycles away. Now they're back into doing it again. So we see quite a few people in the late 40 to early 50 range.
Do you guys actually provide the motorcycles for people to learn, or do people have to actually bring their own bikes?
We do provide the motorcycles for these classes. They are 125, 200, 250cc motorcycles. We have a variety of styles so that we can accommodate a wide range of inseams. We have some very small cruiser bikes with low seat heights, under 27 inches or so, and we have some taller dual spores to accommodate the tall inseam folks. If for the basic class, you can bring your own, but it needs to be in that same cc range of more than 50 to 250 cc's. For our intermediate and our other classes, you can bring your bike of any size.
So my 1,000cc Moto Guzzi wouldn't probably work very well.
You could use it in the IRT.
Right.
Well, we wouldn't let you use it in the basic class.
Right. All right. What's the percentage of women taking the class? Do you get women who are learning to ride motorcycles, or is it very male dominated?
No, we actually quite a few women will come and take this class. You can have up to half or more of any particular class can be female, but you're probably in the 60 to 70% male, but it's not highly dominated male.
So let's talk about cost. We've talked about where, when, and how. How much is the basic course or the beginner's course?
The basic class, the 15-hour course right now is $199 for that class, and that does include your the facility rental, and you're using our motorcycles. And if you need a helmet, we have some that we can provide for you and all that.
And then, but what about protective gear? What do I need to do pre my arriving and after registering for the course?
Yeah, protective gear. You'll get a list of what you need to bring, and that includes a helmet. If you've got one, that's great. If not, we can provide the helmet. A long sleeve shirt or jacket. You need to have full coverage there. You need sturdy pants. Jeans are great, just with no holes in them.
So my motorcycle, Jaguar motorcycle jacket would work?
That would be awesome.
All right.
We do need to have over-the-ankle footwear. So high-top hiking boots, something like that. We just need something that's up over protecting your ankles.
Okay.
Full-fingered gloves. Don't need to necessarily be motorcycle gloves, but we do need full finger coverage. And some sort of eye protection. So if you have a helmet with a face shield, just need to have it down so that you got something in front of your eyes. For the speeds we go on the range in that controlled environment, we do say that prescription glasses and sunglasses are sufficient eye protection for the course.
I'm covered there. So really, it's just I probably just have to get some good riding gloves. Now, let's talk about good riding gloves. I mean, you say any kind of gloves, but probably your wool winter gloves aren't the sort of thing you should bring. Is it worth going out and buying some of this stuff?
For the basic class, you may not want to, because you may find out that motorcycling is not something you want to do in this class, and that's a great place to find it. When you do go out and actually get gloves for riding, you'll find that you want some that are cut specifically for it, because your hands are curled around handlebars. So you'll find that the fingers are already curved that direction for less material underneath, makes it more comfortable ride. They'll have more armor and maybe retroreflective material on the outside. So while gardening gloves or work gloves might get you through the course, you may find that they're not terribly comfortable for a longer ride.
And obviously, once I get into it, I could get my full body-tight leather suit and, I want everything to get... No, everyone's shaking their head. No, don't do that, Nick. All right, so Team Oregon is the place to do it. When are courses? How regularly do you do courses? If somebody is listening right now, they want to sign up, they want to get their motorcycle endorsement, when are those courses?
We run pretty much every weekend from the last weekend of January to the first weekend of December. We run year-round, rain or shine. We don't do holiday weekends like Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. We try to maintain about a 3-week horizon on availability for classes. What you can do is you go onto our website and look for a course in your area. There's a little interactive map. You can click on the Portland area and say, okay, check availability at PCC Sylvania, and may find that there's an opening for you out there, 2 or 3 weeks out.
All right. And then the other question, 2 questions for you before we get off. First of all, does that cover me for Washington? So if I get my Oregon endorsement, I can ride in any state, or how does that work?
Yeah, once you get an endorsement in a state on your Oregon license, it's valid all across the country.
All right.
So, yeah.
And at the same time, are there courses that someone, if they have a Washington state, are there a license who's listening in Vancouver, there's somewhere they can do the similar thing in Washington?
Yeah, Washington also has a motorcycle safety program as well. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, good. Jeff, thank you very much for being part of Test Miles this morning. If you want to, I'm going to do it, guys. It's about time everybody else step up and learn to ride a motorcycle as well. It should be on your bucket list for the rest of your life, things that you should do. That's one of mine. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Team Oregon. I'll be on the course very soon as I can find a weekday course to take it in. Coming up in Test Miles, we're going to find out about cars and coffee, their new location. If you want to see some spectacular cars, Mark's going to be here. That's next on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Live from our studios downtown Portland on a Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show, and we'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more information and fun facts, go to our Test Miles page on Facebook. It's Test Miles ENT, Test Miles Entertainment.
Hey, Nick, here's a fun fact that impressed your friends. On April 16th, 1964, the day before the 1964 and a half Mustang went on sale, Ford ran synchronized commercials at 9:30 p.m. on all 3 major networks at the same time.
That does not happen anymore, by the way. They don't.
Oh,
do
that cost way too much for them to do it.
Portland's Cars and Coffees is one of the country's best attended cars and coffee events. Simply put, car lovers who own or like to look at very exciting cars gather together for coffee and car viewing on a Saturday morning in Portland. Now, due to a surge in numbers, Cars and Coffee took a small break to find a new location, but they're back with a new location. Mark is here. Mark, you have information about the new location of Cars and Coffee. Where is it going to be?
Nick, we're happy to say that the new location for the Portland Cars and Coffee is at the World of Speed Museum in Wilsonville.
Excellent. Now, one of the problems being you had a lot of cars there and you're sort of overwhelmed with the number of cars. How many cars can you accommodate?
We currently will be able to accommodate up to about 300 cars. The key for us is not getting larger. It's about maintaining the location, maintaining the integrity of the event, and overlapping with World of Speed will be the wonderful show at a great location. The 2 audiences match perfectly.
All right. So what's the procedure now? Where do you go? What do you do? And what time do you do it?
Every Saturday, rain or shine or snow, hopefully not, but snow, that every Saturday, 8 a.m. at the World of Speed location there in Wilsonville. We just show up. Literally, we will open the gates. So people showing up at 6:37 are going to be sitting outside on the street.
Right.
We'll open up at 8 o'clock, between 8 and roughly 10:30 to 11 o'clock.
All right.
Outside on the street, we are fortunate. We've partnered extremely well with the Wilsonville police, so they're going to help us keep an eye on the street. So just as a heads up, it is a known speed trap. Keep an eye out there. And of course, no burnouts, no stereos. That's not part of the event.
It's really just about people walking around and looking at some of the vehicles and finding out more about interesting cars, taking pictures, posting them, and having a good cup of coffee as well. What sort of cars have you seen at Cars and Coffee in the past?
We are fortunate. We tend to be the event where when a hypercar comes to Portland or a super exotic comes in, it is often debuted or brought to our event. So we will see those cars when they come in. We'll also see a broad collection of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, BMWs, Subarus, you name it. We involve and we appeal to all owners, and we welcome all cars.
So now the Cars and Coffee event really starting off again after this short break. How many people do you think are going to go and show up on the first event? Because do you think it's going to be over crazy? You're going to have to turn people away?
When the parking lot's full, the parking lot's full. Thankfully, there is parking on the street. We do expect to hit our capacity somewhere between 250 and 300 cars that first day, weather depending.
So you need to get off the freeway probably at 7:55.
Probably so.
then you'll be in the...
We understand there's supposed to be a couple car clubs that are coordinating appearances at that, so we do expect groups of cars to show up. We definitely encourage folks to show up by 8 o'clock to be there. Then they can see the cars. They can see the parade of the cars.
Are you going to take your Ferrari down there?
Absolutely.
All right. How do we get hold of Cars and Coffee? How can we find out more?
Go directly to our website, portlandcarsandcoffee.com. All the details are there. The map is there, and that's where our most current information is. You can also find us on Facebook with a different group name, PDX C&C.
All right, that's how you find out about Cars and Coffee. Thank you to the whole team this morning. Thank you to Jeff Earls. Thank you to John Vincent and to Mark, who have been in the studio for the whole show. Of course, we are around 24/7 at testmiles.com. You can find out more information. We'll be back again next week with another dynamic and informative show. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.